Welcome to Success Factors. I'm your host, Brenda Siri, and today I'm joined by TV Aguirre. He is the founder and marketing consultant extraordinaire of Rockstar.Marketing. Hi, TV.
Hey, Brenda. Thank you for having me.
I am so glad you're here with me today. Thank you.
Cool.
I met you several years ago when we were networking, and when I met you, you had just started your own company. You had sort of come out of a long-term career
Yes.
and were looking for a change and started this little marketing company that's really blown up.
Yes.
But I think it's important to hear that backstory and what got you here today. So how did this happen? What got you started in this career in marketing?
The motivation for it started as a result of wanting to do something online. I read The 4-Hour Workweek, which is a really popular book and still probably doing really well on the bestseller list. Me and my buddy started looking into it. And the idea was making money online. Around the same time, I was getting divorced. And as that continued to develop, I realized that the divorce became final. First and third weekend, and things. I started to get really sad because I couldn't see my daughters consistently. So that little business that we started with me and my buddy, they needed to change. I needed to take it to another level, and it dawned on me that maybe I should quit and start something and go full force into this marketing thing, because that's what I ended up doing as a part of that business. And I did. I quit to just be more involved in my daughter's lives, and it worked. I was willing to risk it all. I wasn't necessarily good at it yet, but I was willing to risk and try and figure out what I could do to get better. And if I could just be home with my daughters more, be involved in school activities, that kind of. I was even PTA president one year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
That's how invested I was in the school and how involved. But I could only do that because I was running this little agency.
Oh, wow. Okay, first of all, did not know the PTA thing, but that's very cool.
It was crazy. PTA is pretty intense.
Yeah.
It has its own little politics. You have to navigate it and try to get people to buy in. I was trying to get more dads involved. That was my thing. Like, where's the dads? There's none but women. I was the only guy.
Right.
But that I got to do that and learn what's involved in that and why it's even important.
Yeah.
But only could do it because I had my little agency.
Aw, I love that. Probably a little marketing involved in being the head of the PTA, right?
Yes. Marketing, I believe, is involved in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Selling ideas, persuading individuals to, go from this behavior to that behavior. Definitely. I'm like, oh, I get it. I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I was still young. I'm like, I see what I have to do.
Yeah.
So I had to try to convince them that it was manly to be involved.
I love that. So thinking back to the beginning of your company, its humble beginnings and what it's evolved to today, how's it happened?
It's happened because my very first client that really gave me the opportunity was an attorney. And I got connected to that person through a friend that I was in high school with. He needed someone. He was a friend of his. He said, hey, don't you do websites? I said, I do. So he referred him to me. It's funny because from that referral, basically my entire business grew because it became the foundation for every other client that I worked with, which primarily is in the legal space. From that little website, I ended up doing her marketing, I ended up doing video and SEO, and really got to learn how to do it front to back. And just learned by doing. She allowed me the opportunity to, and I actually charged her very little because I couldn't, she was taking a risk on me. So it was just the opportunity to actually get my hands dirty doing the work. And then proving and generating results for her. She was able to speak for me, give me referrals, and I could then leverage that as well as a testimonial. And that's kind of how I grew. I mean, I did a bunch of other things, small gigs like I did for you.
Yeah.
Tested different ideas because I was always on the edge of different things. Facebook was new for me. So social media became a primary thing because it was still new. Advertising was still not available, but it was coming. But just the idea of doing social media, promoting yourself at the time was something that I was pushing heavily to get my businesses to be seen by their market.
And I will say this about you, you taught me a trick a long time ago about Facebook and about building out a page that would attract the right kind of clients that I wanted at that time. And so what I think is really unique about the way you do your marketing is you are a very outside of the box thinker, right? I mean, even some of the stuff that I see that you're putting on social media today, it's super, attractive to look at it. It catches your eye. And so it's a very unique talent that you have. And I'm sure that's something that you bring to your clients as well.
I do. Marketing 101 says you got to get attention. And if everyone's doing the exact same thing, you're going to get lost in the mix with everyone else in the feed or wherever their people are consuming media. So my approach is to try to really get them to stand out and in the feed, in the profile, wherever online. Otherwise, it's almost useless. So that is my approach, trying to figure out what that is for them, their personality, the way they look, their name, the brand. I develop a brand around it. And it's something that I put a lot of thought into it because at my core, I'm an artist. I've been an artist since I was a child. I love creating. I love drawing, designing. So when I look at a client and see what they're doing, I try to figure out how we can essentially design their image and make sure to feature them in such a way that people will be like, hold on, what's this person saying?
Yeah.
And then sell them eventually, create that level of trust that people will then buy something from them or hire them to hire their services.
Right. So you have a philosophy about marketing for good. Tell me about this philosophy.
So the philosophy stems from this idea. First, there's this idea that marketers ruin things. And on some level, it's quite true because we ruin Facebook. We ruin social media, we ruin the internet, and because once we figure out that something works, there's so many of them that now we're trying to do it in such volume that we ruin it, like spamming. This is essentially done by marketers who decide, hey, let's call 1,000 people a minute and spam the crap out of people. So my philosophy around that is I want to change the image of marketers because essentially, we're all marketers. We're all selling, persuading, trying to move people from one position to another, trying to get people to donate to a cause, for your church, for whatever you can imagine. We're marketers. We're selling ideas and trying to get people to believe in us and make a change in behavior.
Right.
So it comes from this place of knowing that we're all essentially marketers and using it for good to do some good in the world. And I feel like if we try to do that more and more, the marketer itself, being marketers ruin everything, we can change that idea into something more positive because we're doing it anyways. Let's just not be so shady. And that's my philosophy, is to do things that not shady at all. Because some people will leverage or lean into scarcity or people's pain points to such a way that it really makes people sad and miserable and creates miserable people, frankly, because they're creating problems to try to sell the solution. And I'm just not a fan of that.
Yeah. So if I was a potential client and I came to you and said, what can you do to help me market my company for good? What does that look like if somebody gives you that task?
Figure out what those benefits are that you are trying to help your client with. Every business essentially solves a problem. I actually did a little exercise yesterday, just driving down the street. I'm like, oh, they're solving hunger. McDonald's. Oh, they're helping people with their finances, a bank, right? So every business has benefits that they're serving their clients. So really lean into that more and not so much into the painful part. Like, oh, are you broke? You can't feed your children? Like it works. The sad thing is that marketing in that direction also works because it grabs people's attention. Like, yeah, that's me. I am broke, or I need an opportunity. What I would do with you is to sit down and talk about the benefits that you are going to give your target market and try to lean into those and tell those messages and those stories.
So you talked earlier that you started off supporting the legal field, and that was kind of your first client. But today, it's been over 10 years now that you've been in business. So today, who are your target clients?
It's still legal, primarily. Half of my roster is still law firms.
Okay.
But I now have a medical practice, direct primary care practice, which essentially is a clinic that you pay a monthly fee And now you have a doctor that you can reach out to almost on the call. I love them. They're client. I'm a patient of theirs, and so is my family. Fantastic practice. I'm talking to a daycare right now. I'm really trying to diversify, and I help other home businesses or people that are just providing good services in the community. Local businesses primarily. I don't do anything B2B or online, like where you're just selling online type of thing. But it's local businesses that are just doing good and showing up in people's homes or trying to help the individual consumer in the local market.
And you're, in talking about those more smaller businesses, maybe in early growth stages, how does involving yourself with someone to help you professionally with your marketing, how do you see that helping them grow their business?
So one of the things I tell my clients a lot, or prospects when they're coming to me, because sometimes they're like, I know I need to do marketing, or I keep being told I should do more marketing or be more aggressive, but I just don't know. I've been doing it myself, or I have a friend, they're startups. And most of the law firms that I started with were startups. So they gave me the same thing. They're like, look, you are a lawyer or you are a roofer, and you have to practice that. You have to understand all the legality, all the regulation. You have to manage your team. You have no business, really. You shouldn't be marketing, if we're being fair. You should have somebody doing it because you are a lawyer. Let me market. I'm a marketer. Because you're being distracted, and I don't think it's the highest ROI of your time and your intelligence. You need to hire someone, even if it's on the low end, even if it's not me, find someone that is lower pay scale, but someone that can help you, because otherwise you're wasting your time and you're not going to ever grow at the pace that you would like to, because you're too busy doing things that you're not really good at. You shouldn't be. It's not an insult so much as it is a fact.
I love that, actually. That's really, really smart thinking. It's a great way to approach it. I always tell the people on my team, while you are a recruiter, you are a salesperson, right?
Yes.
And I think marketing and sales sort of touch on each other. And
they're in the Venn diagram.
And we touched on this earlier about the concept that when we talked about marketing for good, you said, we're all marketers. And so I would assume, I actually perused your website and I saw where you talked about that we are all marketers. So tell me more about what this means. I mean, you don't need a marketing degree to be a marketer.
I heard someone say, a marketing individual, I think his name is Rory Sutherland. He's the head of Europe. I forget the name of the company. He's a really popular guy, really well-spoken. And he said something that struck me. He said, humans are born with a natural marketing ability. From the moment the child is born, it knows it needs to get attention. So what does it do? It starts crying in an effort to get attention, to get its needs fulfilled. And that, to me, just pretty much sums up the philosophy of, like, we all have needs. We all have desires, and we have to market the idea of, like, can you help me, or can you get me closer to fulfilling this desire, this need, this movement, whatever it may be. So we just don't know we're doing that when we're having conversations with people. We're trying to persuade, even when you decide on what movie to go to with your husband, he may have an idea, you may have an idea. Now you're both going to sell each other and persuade each other on why we should watch this show versus that movie. Well, this one has Brad Pitt. We're going to throw in some credibility. He's known for producing some good movies. He's good to look at. He's easy on the eyes. He's a great actor, and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
This one's even being nominated for an Oscar. So we're selling and trying to persuade the other. Another mentor of mine says, when two people meet, a sale is made. Both people may not realize it, or one person doesn't realize it, they're going to get sold.
Wow.
So that's where that comes from.
I love that. So if somebody comes to you and says, look, my business is growing, but I kind of want to get it to the next level, right? What can you do to help a company sort of grow their business with the use of marketing?
Oh, it's up to them at that point. Like, if you really want to grow, then it's a matter of putting gasoline on the fire, especially if you already have a great product or service, which apparently has been proven out, they're growing, right? So that now you know the model works, your pricing, maybe your infrastructure, the offer in the marketplace is working. So it's not just a matter of getting more eyeballs on it. Even we're here, they do PR. The idea is to get more people to see that message, and ideally, if the more people that see it, enough of those individuals who see that message the message will resonate with them, and they'll pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
Especially if they have a good offer, a good introductory offer, things of that sort. So it's, what do you want to do? How big do you want to grow? I had a client that wanted to grow to $1 million a month. Well, we started, by the time we left, we had a great relationship, great tenure. He was spending $100,000 a month, but it was producing results on the other side, and he was getting hundreds of millions of people watching his stuff. So therefore, the results speak for themselves. The more eyeballs you're in front of, it's just a matter of then closing them and getting in front of enough people to where enough of them will call.
So if someone has a really limited marketing budget and they're like, can you just kind of help me understand what target maybe I should go towards to start before I start really investing more as my business is growing? Is it more website stuff, SEO? What's the best thing to do?
That's a good question. I think at the beginning is making sure that they know what they're offering, that they know who they're selling to. They know their pain points. So understanding their avatar, understanding their individual target market, females between 20 and 30 who are college educated, who are looking to be married, those kinds of things. So they understand what their marketing, who their marketing should speak to. Because if it speaks to everyone, it doesn't speak to anyone. So I think the very first step is understanding who it is. They may or may not know that. That would be the first step. After that, it would probably be some social media stuff just to start testing messages and testing ideas as they continue to develop their audience and their target audience and their message to the marketplace.
So, I mean, marketing is an investment, obviously, for a company. How does a company know if they've hired the right marketing firm? Because I would suppose you should expect some kind of investment, return on your investment, right?
It depends on the type of marketing you're doing. Because marketing is a really general term. When I first started in the business, and we used to go to networking, apparently half the room were marketers. And it was like, oh my God, I'm competing against all these people. But then you get to talking to them, it's like, a marketer is somebody that just goes door to door and knocks and tries to hand out pamphlets. That's a marketer. So, let's say it's a billboard. That's within the marketing space. That's going to be different. If you go into TV, it's different. It depends on what kind of marketing you're doing, and is it a direct marketing? So if it's direct marketing, it's the kind of marketing where there's a direct call to action on the screen. Call us now to claim your free right? And all the marketing is aimed in that direction to get a result. So therefore, if you don't see results on that type of marketing, it's going to take a while. It's going to take weeks, months to see results. SEO, search engine optimization, that takes forever. And given the nature of how Google is now kind of changing it up with AI, we don't know how that's going to shape up. In SEO, they tell you it's going to take 3 to 6 months before your website is showing for your target keyword. Now, if you do Google Ads, that should be almost immediate. Like within the first week or two, you should start seeing some indication that the message is working, the marketing, the target, that market that they're aiming for, that it's working, or it's not, and then start changing the strategy. So social media, you should see some growth there. You should, if you have some call to action, that might be almost immediate. If you put money into it, there's thousands of people that may see that video or that piece of content today, and you should see some action in there to give you an indication on whether it's working or not. With most of my clients that I work with, within the first week or two, we know this is working or not. And that's the beauty of digital, because you get immediate results and you can start altering your strategy to fit. Like, oh my goodness, we produced this video, it's getting views, we're paying for them, but nobody's calling. Let's change that up. Something's wrong. But if you do a TV ad, that's going to be a little different. Does that make sense? Because it's the connection to the target audience isn't right there as it is with social media.
It's funny because as you were talking, I was thinking, back in the day, I remember when like radio was the place everybody wanted their commercial to be heard, and and then television, and it's just really evolved into a whole different thing, hasn't it?
And on radio and TV, it's still there, but
Sure.
they'll have a call to action, and they'll even say, mention this commercial, so they can prove that that piece of that ad is producing results.
Right.
Coupons are a result of is a way for marketers that in the old days to prove that this piece of media or this advertisement in the newspaper is working. So you have to rip it out, and then they deliver and they count them like, oh, these are the results. Moving forward, people ask me like, what's that look like? Where should we be? Like wherever eyeballs are at. To your point, TV, eyeballs and ears, right? Wherever those eyeballs are, that's where you should be. Wherever your people are engaging in and organizing and hanging out and having conversations, you should be there.
Wow, that's really, really good advice. I like it a lot. I mean, I'm here away from my office today doing this with you, so I think we see the value for sure. Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, TV, I know I've worked with you. You've brought your daughters, one of your daughters, into the business as well.
Yes.
And I have worked with her in helping me with some new marketing stuff. Yes, and she's phenomenal. But if people are watching today and they're interested in connecting with you, what is the best way to do that?
Best way to do that is just visit my website at www.Rockstar.Marketing. It's actually part of the domain. Or just search for TV the Marketer online, and you should find all my stuff and ways to get in contact with me, and just reach out. Let's have a conversation.
Good. I love it. I know people won't go wrong if they get the chance to work with you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for being here today, TV. I really appreciate it. And that's it for today's show, and we'll see you next time. Bye.